Hello, I'm Don Moores, and welcome to Montgomery Week in Review. The Board of Elections is already gearing up for the primary election April of 2016. Training for poll workers is beginning now, since all 3,500 poll workers will need to learn how to use the new machines. Gilberto Zelaya, the outreach director for the Board of Elections, is here to explain his enormous task ahead. The Beacon, this month's Beacon, is full of stories. Discusses what's going on in October, where it's featuring two expos, an extremely valuable housing guide, and the news that all of us depend on. Stuart Rosenthal, editor of this great newspaper, as well as publisher, is here to tell us all about the October edition. Hearing loss may be thought of as a condition of increasing age, but it can happen regardless of how old one is. Henry Hailstock, who comments for this program, has this story. The Montgomery County Council's Office of Legislative Oversight has issued a report questioning the way in which Montgomery County Public Schools has been spending the money allocated from the state to help the most neediest students in our system. Jane Winter, who comments regularly for this program, is here to report. Gilberto,
yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
3,500 election workers.
Yes.
That is an enormous recruitment challenge.
And it's interesting. You would think with 650,000 registered voters, we will have an abundance of judges, and that's not true. On average, we will recruit successfully about 6,000, and it dwindles down because individuals are busy, family, professional life, etc., or individuals are just overextended in community activism.
Okay.
We're looking for individuals who you have to be registered to vote, at least 18 years of age,
okay,
and reside in Maryland. So it's not specifically Montgomery County.
Are there any other things that knock a person out?
No. I think the way it works, you will submit an application. You can
Right.
do that online on our website, or you can request a paper application. We can mail it to you. And we're at community events, festivals, so you could also approach us at the table. Once you submit an application, we'll send you a welcome letter, either electronic or snail mail. Okay. And then in April is when we will initiate contacting these individuals, the candidates, so we could coordinate their training between the months of January through April.
Now, there's a contact. One second here. There's contact. People can reach you.
Yes. So they could call us at the office at 240-777-8533, and on our website at 777vote.org.
Okay.
So we have all that information there. We also need individuals with bilingual skills in different languages. We're under Section 203 of the Voter Rights Act, which means that we need individuals with Spanish-speaking fluency. But the county is so diverse, so we need French, Amharic, Korean, Chinese, etc. The more the merrier, because we cannot really gauge who will need the English language assistance or in the native language.
Henry, before I turn to you, just real quick, how many Spanish speakers do you need to comply with?
So it complies one per precinct. We have about 235, 250 precincts, depending on we consolidate.
So you need at least 250 Spanish speakers?
Yeah, minimum. But we also have to an extra because individuals get ill, family emergencies. So yes.
Hablo poquito de español.
Okay, you're recruited.
What about your political affiliation? Is there a
No,
certain
it
amount
doesn't.
they have
No.
to have in
It was interesting. Montgomery County is predominantly Dem. We do have Republicans and other affiliated parties, but we welcome everyone to the flock. And then we will allocate individuals as needed. So if you do it early in the stage and you go through the training, it's more likely that you'll be able to get your neighborhood precinct. We don't promise your home precinct, because there are individuals like, this is my precinct, this is where I vote, this is mine. No, it belongs to the community. So the earlier you get it in, the better. Another point is there's a stipend. We have part-time positions for those individuals who are just too busy, and we have full-day positions, and they range between $75 to $250, and you will get that stipend as a check in the mail about 5 to 6 weeks after the election. So it is volunteer, work, but there is a small stipend for both the primary and the general elections. And individuals who have served in the past, we also open them to the ability to work as election judges during early voting. So it does give an opportunity to network. A lot of individuals are very civic-minded. It's a good way to meet new people in your neighborhood, and to even expand your resume, especially young individuals in college entering the workforce. It's a good way to kind of expand on your curriculum.
But it's a responsibility.
Yeah, it does. It is.
So why is it that people have to be registered voters in order to be an election judge?
Well, here's the interesting thing. So if you're 17 years of age, and you have citizenship, okay, you could serve as an election judge even though you're not registered to vote. So we're doing a lot of outreach and recruitment at high schools right now. But if you're 17 and will turn 18 by the general election, you can actually vote as a 17-year-old in the primaries.
Right.
Yeah, but because you have to have the citizenship and the preference is that you're 18 in order to register to vote, 2 votes. But as a 17-year-old, you can serve as an election judge, but you have to attend.
But I think
the
her
I'm
question
thinking
was
about
about why
like a
registration.
30-year-old. If a 30-year-old is not registered to vote, why
Those are the
can't
state
they?
law. It's state
Yeah.
law. It's just state law.
Some
It's
of it.
requirement. Yes.
But it's
so-
important to remember that nobody's politicking inside among these judges.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether
It's
you're Democrat,
nonpartisan,
Republican, or
Right.
decline,
straight
right?
nonpartisan.
So I had a question. It's very interesting about the foreign language needs, but then how would a person who's voting who needs that help know where to go? I mean, they can only go to one place.
Yeah.
And what if there's nobody there who speaks their language?
Well, ideally with Spanish under Section 203, we have one in every
Well,
precinct.
Spanish is different.
But
I'm talking about
ideally,
these other languages.
so what we do is we work with a lot of nonprofit organizations within the community. We have a lot of kind of inroads, and what we do is we identify precincts. We look at census numbers, school database,
wonder.
and census, and then we try to identify precincts that have a high percentage of X population, and then we will work with a partnering organization like CCACC, the Korean American League, Casa de Maryland, to help us to get that language skills within that precinct. So
But
it's
not
not
like
an
you could
exact
have somebody-
science.
You could call somebody at a different station and and say, "Can you
No,
help this person out?" on
no,
the phone?"
because we do have the language line. So we don't.
Okay.
That's
That's what I was
another.
gonna
We
say.
do
Right,
have the language
right.
line, but we prefer that one-on-one kind of that customer service
30
level.
seconds left. Anything you want to add
So
to
we need candidates, short-term commitment, long-term impact. It's a great opportunity to give back to the community. There's training involved. It's about 3 to 4 hours long, and then once you pass your training, then we'll assign you a precinct according to your home address. You work in April, you work in November, and then we'll contact you again in 2 years.
this? 5 seconds left. Your single biggest need. You've gone through several election cycles now as
Yes.
our Dr. Zelaya going through this. Your single biggest need, what is it?
We need individuals. We need election judges. There's not so specific.
Okay.
Broad brush, we need individuals to participate in the democracy.
Come all you faithful, come on in and be a part of democracy.
Yes.
That's fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stuart, welcome back.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
You've got the upcoming expos right around the corner. You've got
Yes.
Silver
Busy month.
Spring and Virginia.
That's right.
And
Right.
and how's I mean it's just so good. So let's go to the expos
Okay,
first.
because the Beacon covers the whole metropolitan area, so we have
Right.
2 events that are convenient for our readers. So Silver Spring, downtown Silver Spring at the Civic Center, we have on October 18th. It's really our biggest expo, and it's going to be great. We're going to be 75 exhibitors, including government agencies, nonprofits, and all kinds of businesses. We have wonderful health screenings, new additional ones this time. In addition to blood pressure and
Right.
glaucoma and bone density, we also have balance screenings for the first time. And we have some demonstrations, Tai Chi and other kinds of things.
Cool.
We have flu shots, both the regular and the high dose for those who are 65 and over. We have live entertainment, and we have great speakers. We have Tammy Darvish from Dark Cars, originally from Dark Cars. People know her because she was the public face of the automobile.
She turned her whole
automobile dealership.
career around. She went
Well,
a
she
whole
was
new thing,
basically
right?
kicked out of the family business
Right.
in her 50s and had to start over again, and
Right.
found another job, sort of got on her feet again and started over. And I think it's a really great lesson for so many older adults who are for one reason or another finding themselves in that position.
You know, somebody who did that at age 40, myself, it's a little bit daunting to start, but it's really not that difficult if you put one foot in front of the other. And that message coming out from Tammy Darvish that's fantastic.
Right, right.
Because I mean, don't you find among your readers and looking around in your target demographic, people want to make changes.
Yes,
they're
realize
ready.
that retirement is an opportunity to start over and do something different many
Right.
times. But it's hard to know where to start, and especially if you want to work and you don't have the experience with how do you look for a job, how do you do a resume, how do you learn computer skills you don't have. Those kinds of things are all very important to people.
Stigma of old people being hired, do you think it's still as
it's
great
very
as it
true.
was in the past?
It's very true. Very difficult. Very
Yeah.
difficult.
Well, and I think a lot of people stop or hold themselves back from making those kinds of changes because they say they're too old to change or whatever. But, if people say you're going to get older anyway, you might as well start doing something you
We're
like.
older
you
now
know.
than we were at the beginning of the show, by gosh.
Well, yeah, and you age rapidly.
Website before you answer.
thebeaconnewspapers.com for more information, and you can call us at our office for more things. But I want to talk briefly about the Virginia show, which is the
please do.
following Sunday, October 25th. Many of the same kinds of things in terms of the screenings and flu shots and entertainment and whatnot. But we also have a different speaker. We have Gail Sheehy. You may remember the name from the past.
Sure.
She wrote Passages, classic bestseller from way back when, and 17 books since.
Right.
And she's recently written her memoir. and she's going to talk about her life and her memoir, and also in connection with her memoir, which is called Daring, My Passages. She's talking about older women and how they dared to change the world, really, through stepping forward and doing things that had not been done before. And so she is collecting stories of older women and what they did in their youth and what they've done throughout their lives, and going to put them on her website and maybe even do a new book about it. So we encourage people to come and meet her and talk to her about their own.
You know, you have these expos every year, but every year you get so excited as it gets
It's
closer
fun.
and closer.
It's the best thing of the year that we do, because it really is our one opportunity to really meet our readers face to face and talk to them. It's very exciting for us.
What do you think the most exciting thing, or somebody who goes to the expo, who reads the Beacon and goes to that, what do you think that their takeaway is from going there, or what do you hope their takeaway is?
You know, it's a different experience. I mean, it's a chance to really interact with, it's a very social event, and there's all these exhibitors with all this information, and they come away with bags full of information and stuff, and giveaways and door prizes and whatnot. It's just a lot of fun, and it's a chance to mingle and mix with other people. And I've seen the same people for 16 years. They come up to me every year and say, "I'm here again." You know, it's just wonderful. Or I'm bringing my mom, or I'm bringing my daughter, or granddaughter, or whatever. I mean, it's it's a family.
One word: variety. That's what I would have answered it. Variety.
Lots to do.
Yeah, a lot of it. You know, there's an old Mexican proverb that a house is not on the ground, but on a woman's shoulder. So I noticed you have two speakers
Two
who are
women,
women.
right.
Was there any?
Well, before you say, Alberto, notice he's
Yes.
he's trying to get his Spanish, his cross-cultural appreciation up for your becoming election judge.
I'm on the board of directors of CASA, so I have to.
I'll make sure Gustavo.
In different years, we've had male speakers, female speakers. We usually like to have one of each, but this year it just worked out, and we're very excited to have the opportunity to have Gail Sheehy. So.
This is great.
More about this month's Beacon.
Okay, we have our quarterly housing section. Lots of very interesting stories this time. One of our sales reps helped her mother get into assisted living, and she's writing about her personal experience as the adult child of someone who went through that and what her mother's experience was. We have an article on independent living, article on finding home care, article on if you don't have children and you're getting older, who's going to take care of you? How do you have a safety net? Are you helping your child buy a home? What are the financial ramifications? Home delivery and meal services for people. I mean, it's all kinds of things. It's all over the place, but it's very interesting.
Another exciting edition of the Beacon.
Yes, and I want to mention, just for everybody's benefit, October 15th to December 7th is open season for Medicare. We have an article on that.
Good.
What are the things you need to have in mind and things you should be aware of if you're changing your prescription drug plan or whatever.
It's
So much stuff.
There's so much
Pick up a
stuff.
copy.
Yeah. Wow.
Isn't it just amazing how year to year the same plan changes? I don't understand. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm hoping
You'll find out.
Changes back.
Businesses change a lot,
Yeah.
so the drug plans change and prices change and everything. You can't just assume it's the same as last year.
The only thing you can assume is you'll get it in the Beacon.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after these messages.
I'm serious. It's a lot.
It is.
I feel very good about that one. And we're back. Sorry, I jumped the gun there. I apologize. Henry Hailstock, welcome back.
Thank you. Nice to be back.
We're talking about a huge issue, young and old, mostly thinking. I know, and we're not going to do any hearing loss.
Yes.
And you're someone you know about this personally.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Actually, for a long time, hearing loss carried a huge stigma. Didn't want to seem old. A visual sign that you didn't really have all your faculties intact.
You've got the hearing aid people sort of look at you differently.
Yeah, but you got famous people like Jodie Foster,
Right.
Rob Lowe, Holly Berry, okay, and Bill Clinton. Not only wear hearing aids, but they talk about it. Talk about it too, and you just be amazed at really the number of people. 40% of the 48 million Americans have hearing loss who are younger than 60 years old.
Wow.
Okay? Now, you take that and you say 45% of the people that are between 60 and 69 have hearing impairment.
Mm-hmm.
3/4 of the people who are older than 70
Right.
have hearing loss as well.
So you've got so within males, for instance, of traditionally going off to war, we'd have a lot of hearing issues coming back from the sound of guns going off back. you've got the genetic, you have hearing loss coming in,
Yeah.
sports, in you know, yourself.
Yeah, but like I
Other
was
things.
talking to a caller earlier, she said, you're going to those concerts, hearing all that loud music,
headphones.
Damage.
and
Headphones.
really, going to nightclubs, hearing all those sounds, and wearing the earbuds and all that.
Yeah.
I said, but that's true. But you think about the people walking around here with headphones, with earbuds, as she says, as well as Bluetooth devices. You might as well be thinking about wearing some technology that will help you hear.
That's really helped, right? It's taken
Yes.
away some of the stigma because people are
Yes,
walking around
it
all the
will.
time.
Yes,
Right.
that's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Something hanging in your ear.
But to be honest with you, there are other things, as Don just mentioned, that really cause hearing loss. Not only the loud noises, but you have medication.
Sure.
You have you have diabetes.
Sure.
You have poor diets, smoking.
All those
Okay.
things,
All
they're
those
all
things. All those
contributing
things
factors?
destroy the hair cells
Yeah, the
in your inner
filament.
ear.
Celia?
And the hair cells in your inner ear do auditorial signals to your brain.
And they don't regrow.
No,
Yeah.
no.
You kill them, or they fall out,
Hair
they're gone.
cells, hair cells.
There's
in
no
your inner
Rogaine-
ear
no Rogaine for the ear?
Will not regrow in humans.
And
Now,
that's
they have done
different from the
testing on
hair
mice.
that older people get growing out of their ears.
That's out. Those are inner ear.
Those don't count.
There's a difference. There's a big difference. Okay, but that's the biggest.
Tell us
problem.
about your story. Tell us about your hearing loss.
Well, my hearing loss is not only because I play football and all, but
Oh, wait. Before you go on, congratulations on
Oh.
you're going to be honored as a member of your university's Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's really all of the awards that I've received, with the NAACP and being in retail food and all, even being on the magazine cover, a Progressive Grocer. This means more to me because that's where it made me as a human being.
But
thank
it also hurt your ears.
Well, yes, that's because of the concussions and everything else. But also, I referee basketball, and blowing the whistle. Wow, that also caused a big problem too. And let's face it, I did go to some of the concerts, and I was in some of the nightclubs with all the loud, music and everything else.
Whoa. A professional athlete going to clubs and being out there having. I'm not sure. I thought you were only practicing.
Only sponsorships and everything.
But I think
see, that really causes causes a lot of problems. But as I say, the other things cause it too. But the main thing that I want people to understand is that the technology that they have today for hearing aids really makes the sounds louder.
Yeah.
And it takes away from some of the background noises.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, I think also it's important for especially individuals with children growing up. I didn't have headsets and surround sound and Bose system and bass and all that. And my children love put the bass up. I'm like, no, you need to bring it down. So
Yeah.
it starts at home, and then as you get older, sports, etc., the
I
environment,
constantly
diet.
was on my kids if they had earplugs in or had earbuds in, but I
Could
could
hear
hear it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Then
yes.
it definitely was way too loud for them.
But understand this, don't kick
10
down
seconds.
your egos, but make sure that you don't, ignore it.
Yep.
Because the longer you ignore it, it's harder to be treated.
Yep.
Okay? Because the brain does not, if it's not getting the sound, it will forget
All
what
right.
the sound, distinguish the sound itself.
Henry, thank you very much for this. I'd like to keep going on, but we can't forget our final guest.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, as we forget, but we'll
My
hear
pleasure.
more about this. Jane Winter, welcome back.
Thank you.
So, spending state money coming into the county, and we're supposed to be using it to spend on our poorest students. There's some issues about this. What's going on?
Right. Well, the state gives all counties money, the basic money just for a head count is called foundation money, and then there's monies that are allocated based on the number of needy students, the number of students who are English language learners, and the number of students in special education. And so those are supposed to be, because it costs more to educate
Right.
those students. The money actually does not have to be spent specifically on those students. You get more money for any number of students, but as long as you're making regular progress towards the targets that the state has set up,
Sure.
that's unrestricted funding.
Okay.
So the Office of Legislative Oversight of Montgomery County Council looked at how does the school system spend that money. And of course, it can't completely track that money, so what it looked at is how many programs are in the county that are specifically targeted to
Well, give us some
poor
results.
students. Well, so what they found was that of the money that comes into the county, not all of it can be specifically tracked to a program that's just designed for needy students. And
Okay.
so they're saying that, well, this could be partly responsible for, why we're not making progress
Achievement
on
gap.
the achievement gap.
Sure.
Yeah. I will say the school system had a fairly strong reaction to that,
Right.
because by state law they're allowed to do whatever they
Because
want with
for instance,
money,
if you've
yeah.
got a number of different programs at a high school,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're putting money into that high school that helps everyone, some of that's going to go to here plus specific program
Right,
money
and
is what
that
I
was one of the
understand.
criticisms, which I think is maybe a little bit off, that it is true, is that if you reduce, because if your school has, say, 70% of the students receive free and reduced lunch, which
Right.
is our standard indicator of poverty, yes, 30% of the students who might get that service at that school
Are non-farms.
not,
Right.
don't receive that. So they're not all specifically targeted to kids. And I think one of the distinctions that, people have different opinions on this, whether funds like that should go only to the schools with the very highest poverty rates, or whether they should be more distributed,
Okay.
so that they're, because every school's got some poor kids.
Well, Jane, you brought up a good point. We were talking earlier, and you said it's really not the school system itself; it's the state. And I think really the state needs to review this and really determine what's best for those students that have the need.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
you want the state to come in and tell us what to do.
I want the state to come in and have the funds restricted to those needy students, whether it is for poverty or whether it's for special ed, because right now I don't think the special ed students alone are really being able to be taken care of like they should. The other thing is too, I don't think we have enough people being encouraged to go into that as a career. I mean, once they go into education, they're being picked off
finished.
by corporations, private industry, as opposed to going
Okay.
into education.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that you brought up, special education, and it's interesting because yes, there's always the need. Special education students have very high needs, and those are written out in the student's individualized education plan. But what they found was based on what the state actually gives as sort of the allowance per special education student. That's about $5,000 that you get from the state for each special education student, and the county, as in the school system, is adding $18,000 more
Right.
to that on average. So really, that may or may not be enough, because there are a lot of people who think their kids need more services, but that's actually a group that is definitely getting more
And I think
local
also,
help.
and exactly, also piggybacking with Henry, is the issue that teachers, the profession itself, teachers are walking to a lot of other issues beyond the education. There's social services, there's needs within the family. There's great programs like Linkages to Learning and Family Services, Inc., and you have to kind of support those as well, because teachers are just not teaching arithmetic and reading, so a little bit more involved.
40
Right.
seconds left.
Right. Well, I think that they did point out a few things. First of all, that most of the programs that are targeted at ESOL students, that's English language learners, and poorer students, are at the elementary level. And it is true, I think, that the school system has done a lot less, especially in high schools, to specifically target those students with extra assistance. And it also pointed out something that, I think most people have been aware of, is that the least experienced teachers end up at the poor schools, and part of it is just because of seniority rules.
People move off.
Yeah, I mean,
You got-
people want to go to a school where it's
Right.
not as much of a challenge, and what kind of incentives can you give them?
Well, that's our last word. More incentives for teachers to come into the schools that really need the help
Right,
the most.
need the help, yeah.
Gentlemen, lady, thank you for joining me today, and thank all of you for joining us for this week's edition of Montgomery Week in Review. I'm Don Moores, welcoming you back again next week at this very same time.